The Syncretion of Polarization and Extremes, Part 47, Croatia, Polarizing LGBTIQ Life, Transposing Emblem by Stevan Milivojevic. History of LGBTIQ activism in Croatia. The LGBTIQ community in Croatia became visible in an informal self-organizing sense during the 1980s. Along with Slovenia, this made it one of the first countries with LGBTIQ activism in the Balkans region. The legal position of LGBTIQ people in Croatia changed several years before the official activist initiatives after changes to the constitution were adopted as part of the judicial reforms and the transference of power from the federal level to the republic level. These reforms, which took place in 1974, amended the Federal Penal Code, and by doing so, regulated the decriminalization of same-sex relations. Later on, during the Croatian War, most of the LGBTIQ community was part of the feminist, peace, and green groups, joining anti-war campaign. It was during this time, in 1992, that the first formal gay and lesbian group was officially established, called LGMA, Lesbian and Gay Action. Even though during the war, the group did not have the opportunity to improve the quality of life for the LGBTIQ community, it still achieved significant results by publishing Speak Out, the first lesbian and gay magazine in Croatia. In 1998, the Parliament of Croatia voted to adopt amendments to the Penal Code. At the request of the government, the age limit for consensual sex relations was set to 14 years of age, and it was independent of sexual orientation. Fast forward a couple of years, and we are in 2002, with big changes having come to Croatia, such as the first Pride Parade held in Zagreb, the Croatian capital. The Pride Parade itself, although considered successful, was met with strong opposition and disapproval by counter-protesters. The Pride Parade was described by activists as a true test of Croatian democracy, and it really was exactly that. Some would say the democratic test was passed, considering the fact that Pride Parade was held, despite opposition. On the other hand, activists were aware that a public event such as the Pride Parade would reveal the full scope of hatred and negative attitudes towards the LGBTIQ community in Croatian society. This opposition and the polarized opinions of the LGBTIQ community will later on become a common characteristic in all the countries of the former Yugoslavian region, some of which have needed until 2019 to take the first steps, such as the Pride Parade. Yet, Croatia, even though its LGBTIQ community was among the first to work together and self-organize with decades of activist traditions, still hasn't fully accepted the LGBTIQ community, and sexual orientation and gender identity remain polarizing topics for many Croatians. Modern day situation. Not long after 2002, when the first Pride Parade was held in Zagreb, the LGBTIQ community used the receptive political climate and pushed for the first cases of positive legislation. In 2003, same-sex couples were recognized in the eyes of the law for the first time. Through the adoption of the law on same-sex partnerships, the law remained in force for several years, but it had only regulated the economic side of same-sex partnerships. Over time, the LGBTIQ community understood its insufficiencies and started working towards the adoption of new legislation, which would make the same-sex and opposite-sex couples more equal before the law. However, the opposition to the liberal ideas in Croatia once again reared its ugly head, and this time it acted swiftly. Even though most of the country, civil society organizations, and LGBTIQ activists expected some form of opposition, no one foresaw the level of organization and mobilization they witnessed. A conservative group called In the Name of the Family, as it declared in its public statements, recognized that the adoption of more inclusive same-sex partnership law would inevitably end up fully equating same-sex partnerships to traditional marriage. This, according to In the Name of the Family, was a step too far and needed to be stopped immediately. Therefore, this group initiated a public campaign for a referendum with the goal of amending the constitution by adding further clarification and defining marriage as a union between a man and a woman. This would, in the words of the aforementioned group, would bring an end to all the effort by the LGBTIQ organizations to undermine family values and destroy the sanctity of marriage. The initiative was cheered by many within Croatian society, revealing how deep division on the topic goes. On one side, liberal groups advocated the rejection of the campaign, claiming that a call for a referendum on the topic of human rights represents a violation of human rights in itself. The campaign organized numerous events with the slogan, "How would you feel if 4 million people decide on your life?" Even though opponents of the referendum had the support of numerous public figures, the campaign in favor of it had the backing of the Catholic Church. Considering the fact that around 90% of Croatians self-identify as Catholics, the leaders of the Catholic Church mobilized numerous activists and made an enormous effort on behalf of the Yes group, gathering 750,000 signatures, many more than needed, for the holding of the referendum. In 2014, it took place with the question, "Do you agree that marriage is matrimony between a man and a woman?" After the results came in, it was obvious that a far smaller number of people actually participated than expected. But the results were clear. 65% of the participants voted yes, thus making a major victory for the conservative initiative backed by the Catholic Church. Despite the referendum taking place, the Croatian government presented the final draft of the law on life partnerships of same-sex couples, which was adopted by a clear majority in the Croatian parliament on July 15, 2014. The law encoded the equal treatment of same-sex unions to opposite-sex unions in all regards, except the fact it does not allow the adoption of children in same-sex unions. Both the yes and no campaigns have revealed the polarization of opinion among the Croatian people when it comes to the topic of LGBTIQ rights. Although LGBTIQ individuals have been in the Croatian public sphere for 3 decades, it has become obvious that it is hard to change deeply rooted opinions and attitudes when they are supported by official religious institutions. That is why Croatia and the rest of the Balkan nations still have polarized attitudes on numerous questions, not just the matters of sexual orientation or gender identity. It cannot be said that changes have not happened. They have, but those positive changes will always remain reversible if actions are perceived to be too swift, and polarized attitudes are neglected or not addressed. Stevan Milivojevic.